Howdy there. That's right. I'm your tour guide. I reckon you're all ready to take a nice, easy tour of this here old mine. Oh, they fixed it up real nice and safe for you. Excepting you ain't going there. No, you're gonna see my kind of mine. If you can't, just try and come back alive.
In 1804, a Frenchman climbed into a cart poised on a steeply inclined set of tracks and discovered something remarkable. Fear is fun. He had also built the world's first modern roller coaster. Over 100 years later, an American journalist tried to describe the experience.
The coaster does not play fair. It is not content to drag you up an incline and toss you down the other side. It drags you up an incline, tosses you down the other side, turns you over this way, turns you over that way, and before you can remember what comes after thy kingdom come, shoots you to the stars again.
Of course, the real story is he wrote it again and again. It all began when Catherine the Great wanted to enjoy the royal pastime of ice sledding year-round. Although European society first sneered at this flight of fancy, by the 1800s, these so-called Russian mountains had become all the rage. By the early 1900s, roller coasters numbered into the thousands in the United States alone. Coasters have been the heart of amusement parks for centuries. But what's the attraction? Why do we strap ourselves onto the backs of these serpentine nightmares and call it fun? A simple test of courage? Or is it something deeper? Some say the desire to experience new sensations is a basic human need. And what is a roller coaster but the promise of pure sensation? For all its fury, the roller coaster is a remarkably simple machine. Even Einstein was impressed. To Einstein, roller coasters were not only fun, but a classic illustration of physics. Using only gravity and momentum to perform breathtaking drops and gut-wrenching loops, the roller coaster is a marvel of efficiency, constantly transforming potential energy into kinetic and back again. To ride designers, a coaster is put together like a scary movie, full of surprise plot twists and suspense. Take the first climb, deliberately slow and unsettling, just to give passengers time to squirm. It's psychological manipulation on a grand scale. By placing pylons and trees closer to the track and making turns sharper as the ride goes on, the designer creates the illusion of going faster, while the coaster is actually slowing down. Hold onto your seat, and please keep your arms and legs inside the theater. While the future of roller coasters seems unlimited, new forms of thrill experiences have begun to appear on the horizon. Today, in an atmosphere of fierce but friendly competition among amusement parks, daring designers have taken thrill rides to new heights. At 1,143 feet, the Stratosphere Tower in Las Vegas is the 5th tallest building in the world. Perched on top is one of the most frightening thrill rides ever conceived. The Big Shot. 0 to 60 in 2.5 seconds. 160 feet straight up. In the hands of today's ride designers, even a simple concept like a boat ride can turn from a fairly tame experience into the spectacular. And even into the unthinkable. But as designers search for new ways to capture our imagination, the roller coaster, like a grand old dragon, continues to roar center stage at amusement parks around the world. For many, there is nothing like it. By the start of the 1980s, something new was about to enter the picture. It was called motion simulator. And it promised to change our concept of thrill rides forever. This startling feat of engineering didn't begin as a thrill ride, but was designed as a sophisticated training device for, of all things, flying. The dream of human flight began very humbly. Through trial and error, pilots gathered new insights into this young science and eventually gained a brief foothold in the sky. The dream of flight was finally realized, but it remained a hazardous occupation. In time, flying machines became supersonic transports, and the problem became how to teach pilots to fly them. After all, you can't put training wheels on a Concorde. The solution was the flight simulator. Over the years, simulators have played a vital role in some of the greatest moments in the history of modern flight.
7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, 0. Again, speed to be 801 heavy.
3104.
Position, hold, maintain.
Looks good.
Kenny Tower Pan MA64, number 2 behind Shamrock for 2 below.
Flight simulators are basically mimics, able to duplicate the real thing with the aid of hydraulics and computers. These astronauts certainly have the right stuff, but it's the simulator that taught them what to do with it. With some simulators, a few seconds is more than enough. The centrifuge reveals how pilots react to extreme motion and G-forces. Veterans just call it the LRV, or Lunch Review Vehicle. In the military, the emphasis is on aerial combat. As fighter jets have become more sophisticated, flight simulators have become an indispensable training tool. In the heat of simulated battle, split-second decisions determine the success or failure of the mission. It's serious business. These pilots know tomorrow may be the real thing.
Made my day.
For now, top flyers can push the edge of the envelope without ever leaving the ground. Here they can learn from their own mistakes before putting it on the line inside a billion-dollar aircraft. In the bellies of these giant simulators are commercial airline pilots trying out a new passenger jet. Everything from the navigation systems to the exact handling characteristics of the actual aircraft has been programmed into the computer. All the pilot has to do is log in a flight plan and pick an airport. Try San Diego. Or at least the computer's idea of San Diego. For pilots, what's important isn't picture-perfect realism, but dead-on accuracy.
TBA 801.
Today, simulators are on a new mission. These leaner, meaner machines use the technology developed in flight simulators for a new purpose. Designed not for training or accuracy, but for fun. In the search for new thrill experiences, the motion simulator has merged with motion pictures to create an entirely new form of entertainment. The ride film. It's Coney Island meets Hollywood, and the result is a fantastic roller coaster of the mind, and our body comes along for the ride. For ride films, the key is the quality of the image. The audience has to believe what they're seeing, whether it's a low-altitude flyby of an alien city, or just a quiet little drive down Main Street. To understand what makes ride films tick, we need to take a little crash course into the medium itself. Movies began small. The first standard film was no bigger than a postage stamp. But filmmakers realized the bigger the film, the greater its impact on the audience. So in the chase for the sharpest and brightest screen image, a variety of film formats emerged. In a new innovation, the image is turned sideways, creating 15 perf 70mm, the largest film format in the world. Who says size doesn't matter? Of course, the point is not the size of the film, but the quality of the projected image. For the better the image, the greater the detail, and the more convincing the illusion becomes. Until finally, the audience is immersed in a frameless experience like no other. The most incredible illusion the movies create may be the illusion of motion itself. Motion pictures aren't really moving images at all. They're a series of still pictures, one after another. When the pictures appear in quick succession, our brain fuses them together to create the illusion of motion. However, this illusion has limits. Beyond a certain threshold, we see an effect called strobing. The effect is great if you don't mind getting sick. Obviously, the fewer pictures you show of objects in motion, the worse they look. Here, at 6 images per second, the cars still move too far on the screen between frames. As the middle and right cars go to 12 images per second, the movement improves. At 24 images per second, the car on the right moves very smoothly. The illusion of motion is complete. As the image on the right shows, most movies run fine at 24 frames a second. But ride films projected on giant screens need something faster. By using projection rates as high as 60 frames a second, nothing is too fast to capture on the big screen. In creating an immersive experience, image isn't everything. There is also sound. And sometimes what's lurking behind the screen can change your perception of what's on it.
Hello? Can somebody turn on the light? Maybe raise this darn screen here? Now you're talking. I just thought I'd make myself useful and show y'all a few things about this fancy new sound system they got. Hey, Leroy. Hey there. Come give me a hand. Leroy. Now, he's my twin brother. Some folks say that Leroy's just a few bullets short of being fully loaded, but he's a good man in a pinch. Yep, get your old bones down here. Anyhow, now, the thing about these new high-tech speaker systems is, what, these here egghead movie people, they can pinpoint a sound anywhere in the theater and make it come up and down. Unlike some people. Why, sometimes you'd think something was a-moving right alongside you. It could be old Leroy taking his sweet time, or it could be the noon stage a-rolling in from Santa Fe. There's people out here. I know there's people here, Leroy. That's why I done called you. Oh, you want me to show them some tricks in here? That ain't a real high-grade idea, partner. Now, you're just going to help me showing the folks here the latest advances in sound technology. Like, well, 3-dimensional sound. Yeah. Oh. Maybe asking Leroy to help wasn't such a good idea. Oh, you bet I'll help. I'll show him some fancy sound. No, just watch this. No. Thank you, folks. This here demonstration is concluded.
No ride film is complete without a motion simulator. The open platform, like box seats on a trampoline, can stretch to fit almost any theater, while the capsule base requires no theater at all. In any configuration, motion bases have the same goal: to turn random motion into a truly moving experience. Like the early aviators, figuring out what works is mostly trial and error. Fortunately, nobody crashes if it's wrong. But when it's right, it's magic. Even though the simulator moves no more than a few feet in any direction, when programmed properly, it can create an illusion of movement comparable to the real thing. Most of the first ride films created were live-action explorations deep into the world around us, to places few of us ever journeyed. It was more than a new way of seeing things. Like a dream, we're immersed in a total experience. Only nobody gets wet. By engulfing our senses, the ride filmmaker invites us to cross the boundary between spectator and participant. All of a sudden, we can go anywhere we want. We can swim with fish, or fly with birds, or even share the road with a few friendly hogs. With the success of these early ride films, a few maverick filmmakers took off in a new direction. They began to experiment with special effects, previously the domain of big-budget movies like Star Wars and Back to the Future. A single special effects shot like this one, using miniatures and stop-motion techniques, can take days to shoot for as little as 5 seconds of film. It may be time-consuming, but it can be a lot of fun. The question for filmmakers was, where is all this fun leading? The answer was waiting just around the bend. And it would be nothing short of a virtual revolution in ride films. When live action is combined with miniatures and computer-generated images by some of the best and brightest special effects wizards in the business, you know something spectacular is bound to happen. In this case, the next generation of thrill rides had arrived. And what made it all possible was a little invention called the computer. In the 1990s, Hollywood and the computer combined in ways never seen before. And at the center of the revolution was the computer graphics workstation. It may not look like much more than your average home computer, but don't be fooled. This high-speed Mega RAM marvel is nothing short of a Hollywood studio on a desktop. Long before films like Toy Story proved that a completely computer-generated movie could be a hit, ride filmmakers had already begun to realize the possibilities, creating entirely imaginary worlds of their own. The first step in the process is to pick the right environment. No longer limited to the physical world, ride films can take us anywhere. Like the future, or, if we dare, into the realm of the supernatural. And for those who long for the good old days, there's always the past. How these incredible worlds are created is as amazing as the rides themselves. It begins with a sort of treasure map. All the surprise mishaps and unexpected run-ins with monsters are carefully charted, so everyone knows what they're getting themselves into. Actually turning a two-dimensional drawing into a fully animated three-dimensional flight through space and time is complicated. But at its heart is the same simple goal of any roller coaster. However, where coaster designers are limited by the strength of metal and concrete, ride film designers are limited only by their imagination. In this world, illusion is everything. Every reflection, texture, shape, and shadow is created entirely from scratch. From the crack of lightning to the black cat on the railing, it all has to be meticulously constructed and then animated. To understand the computer animator's art, we must deconstruct the illusion. The animator first creates a skeleton of the ride in wireframe. This trajectory looks very much like a roller coaster. In fact, ride film designers engineer the twists and turns just like the real thing. To intensify the sense of speed, objects are built up along the tracks. Walls and pillars added, all to heighten the illusion of moving through space. Then the place gets its first coat of paint, a crude layer of computer-generated skin known as fast rendering textures. As more elements are generated, the environment begins to take hold of our imagination. That can only mean one thing. It's time to scream. Now three-dimensional objects are brought to life with full animation. Getting through this illusion clearly isn't going to be so easy. The designer choreographs each moment to heighten our sense of danger, fun depending on your point of view, and then sends us on our way. High-resolution textures and color add to the sense of hyper-reality. Then final touches, such as lighting and atmospheric effects. Suddenly, we're speeding through a work of art. It's 1,000 details coming to life before our eyes, stretching our imagination until we're ready for almost anything. Even coming face to face with Elvira? Combining a live person with computer animation isn't always easy. While Elvira performs in front of a green screen, her image is digitized and read into a computer. Later, she'll be brought back to life in a computer-generated world. And while this new ride film nears completion, one of the greatest ride films ever created continues to thrill. It's Back to the Future, The Ride.
If that ain't a hoot, well, I don't know. Fun from a pecking paw snake pit. Of course now, this is more than just a ride. I mean, nowadays, why, you can't just put people in a box and rattle them around a lot and expect them to have fun. No. Nowadays, why, you gotta get what they call semen. And then, why, you need a fancy theater to see it in, like this one over here. Come on, I'll show you. Come on, Missy. Yeah. This is a highly aggressive ride. That's my kind of ride.
Watch your head as you step into the time travel vehicle. Once in, slide to the furthest seat. Adults, watch your head as the ceiling slopes down in the back.
For today's modern thrill seekers, nothing is left to chance. Preparing the passengers for what lies ahead has become part of the fun. All to take a 5-minute ride film and turn it into an unforgettable 30-minute experience.
No photography is permitted during the ride. And please, no smoking, eating, or drinking while inside the time vehicle.
In ride films, even the theater is a marvel of engineering and illusion, generating a mind-bending barrage of sensory information. For passengers unaware of what it takes to make a DeLorean fly, there is nothing quite like it.
Howdy. These here things, why, they get you a coming and a going. If you ain't a do-si-doing with a dinosaur, then you're here, right in the middle of a pyramid. You ain't going in there, are you, ma'am? So what's next? Now, if this ain't been exciting enough for you, maybe you'd like a front row at the beginning of the universe, huh? Oh, let me warn you. Right now might be a real good time for you to introduce yourself to your neighbors, because in just a few minutes, you'll probably be grabbing on to that neighbor to save your life. Oh, try to keep your arms and your legs inside the theater. We'll see you. Bye-bye.
Welcome to the Virtual Museum of History, where historical events are not a thing of the past. You may now proceed to any time warp generator on the higher levels. Please enjoy your visit.
Almost like a powder. I'm gonna step off the limb now. That's one small step for man, one giant leap for mankind.
Well, it seems like our journey's over before it began. But remember, where thrills are concerned, it's not the destination that matters. It's the ride.
Action.
Sony Pictures Classics advises you to hang on to your seat for the ultimate film experience. Thrill Ride, the science of fun. This large format film gives audiences a heart-pumping look at the development of thrill rides by literally immersing them in state-of-the-art thrill.
Immersive entertainment is a form of entertainment which make you forget that you're actually going through a film experience.
Director Ben Stassen, a world-renowned expert in ride films and computer graphics imagery, combines this cutting-edge technology with the overwhelming visuals of the giant screen. The result is a film adventure unlike any other.
We basically want to kind of create an immersive experience. Even though the seats won't be moving, we want to take them on a ride from the beginning to the end of the film.
You really become involved environmentally in the film because there's so much of it in front of you and around you that you're sort of sucked into the picture.
The medium's very powerful. Because of its high resolution, it surrounds you and it can't help but affect you emotionally. And as a filmmaker, you know, a powerful visual tool is irresistible.
Sensation seeking is one of man's primary needs, and the promise to fulfill that need for just a brief moment is what makes a roller coaster so successful.
Over the past 100 years, roller coasters have gone from simple rides to high-tech scream machines.
These roller coasters contain several loops, senses of motion up and down, all of the things that we really want to discuss in our film.
For Stassen and his production team, the biggest challenge was mounting the camera on the roller coaster.
It's a pretty impressive setup. To my knowledge, it's one of the first time that we put a big IMAX camera on such a high-speed roller coaster. As you know, this is the largest, biggest inverted roller coaster in the world.
So what you get to see are 4 people hanging in the foreground and all the rows behind them, relatively fixed. But as they swing back and forth like that, you see the entire scenery behind them go through 360-degree revolutions, you forward and backwards. It's really an outstanding visual experience. And then we did the reverse of that. We turned the camera the other way, and you no longer see anything fixed. Everything's moving, and the camera is corkscrewing around, And that's even more immersive because you don't have any fixed reference.
So that'd be a cool shot.
Yeah.
Because they would be leaving that way, and next thing you know, they're coming this way.
Yeah.
Motion simulators have created a whole new genre of thrill rides. Once used solely as a training tool for pilots and astronauts, these devices are now advancing the technology of thrill rides to a spectacular new level.
Back to the Future, the ride, is the most high-tech film experience in the world, probably.
Roll camera.
Riders are given the illusion of flight as their vehicles soar and dive in sync with the film action that's projected on a huge domed screen.
Because of the dome, and because each car is sort of blocked in its own little world, when you ride on Back to the Future, you really get the sense that you're the only person in the dome. They're still up there screaming. Yeah, they are. Stopped long ago.
I have to know that. It's looking good. I mean, it's looking good.
Yeah.
Sean, what'd you dial?
We need more smoke at the beginning, and they can give that. So that should be fine.
There's a real fascination with the technology and how it's done, and I think the magic of exposing this, I think, makes the experience that much more rich.
To show audiences what's involved in creating this hyper-virtual reality, Thrill Ride goes behind the screams.
Elvira, take 5.
On the new ride film, Superstition, featuring Elvira, Mistress of the Dark.
We're creating a motion simulation film, and most of it's been created using computer graphics or computer-generated imagery. In our terms, we just call it CGI.
In CGI, in computer animation, you start with a blank screen and you can go anywhere at any speed, and there's no physical dangers or physical limitation.
I'm kind of just sitting here in front of a big green screen and you know, pretending like I'm flying around the room, but actually I'm just sitting here comfortable.
In that computer-generated world, we need to marry live actors to create the bridge between the virtual environment and reality. And what that does is that makes it that much more of a real experience.
The number one topic in the large format industry is what's next. What do we do next for the audience?
In the realm of computer-generated images, your imagination is basically the limit of what can be done.
Hey, background players, you were terrific. We loved it. Fantastic, everybody. Thank you.
Audiences can take a front row seat for the wildest thrill ride ever when Thrill Ride, The Science of Fun, opens at large format theaters across the country and around the world.